speak about, because the Olympics for women is not under 23 competition. It's a national team competition, and you had the US in the Olympics, had all the best teams you could think of, and Canada went all the way to winning. It's quite concerning for me. The captain of the side, 40-year-old, has been speaking, talking about the Canadians, about the possibilities around it, that when they went for the Olympics, everyone underrated them, and now they are in the World Cup. But for me, Mari, I think the women's game is so close now. You can't underwrite anything. Nigeria still have a chance. Let me not count them out. If they put the house in order, it's going to be such a tough game for Nigeria.
All right, so that's the conversation. Let's look at African teams in the competition, because Nigeria, thankfully, I would love to say, would open the campaign for the African teams participating in the competition. We have also Morocco, who are the first country from the Arab region to qualify for a FIFA Women's World Cup. I've got a game. I've got games in the competition as well. Zambia will also face Japan in Group C opener before meeting Spain and Costa Rica. We also have South Africa, the 4 teams in the FIFA Women's World Cup representing Africa. We've talked about Nigeria. South Africa puts up a fine performance at the WAFCON, and they'll be expected to even do better when they face, the opponent in this competition. The Zambia too, with Barbara Banda, they defeated the top side a couple of days ago in a friendly game. Blind, remember that, and all of that too. What's the projection like for African teams, judging from the fact that in the first 2 games of competition, we saw some intense action? Maybe the gap and the margin between the big teams and the small teams is not that wide anymore. So what are your expectations from African sides in this competition?
From what we've seen, I think from the first 2 matches played, like I just said earlier, there's a spirit of competitiveness in the tournament, of course. And of course, looking at the representatives we have from Africa, we have the Moroccan women. Of course, they are top-notch women in the world ranking. Of course, you see what's happening in the country with their football and everything. With the Zambian women as well, see their performance in their last friendly.
Yeah.
It speaks a lot of volume. It shows how much ready these people are. It speaks. It shows how much the football has evolved. It's not just all about rankings anymore. Like I said, this is not just all about where your position is on the world ranking, how good your football is, but it speaks how good the players are, how fit it is, how invested the players are in the sports as well. So it's very important that of course we give them the maximum support that they deserve, and ready to go.
Now, Blyden, Nigeria, Zambia, Morocco, and South Africa, which is Africa's biggest hope in the FIFA Women's World Cup?
Well, I think I'll go with Nigeria first. Here's why. Experience. At the biggest stage, when it matters most, there's always going to be that thing about Nigeria. But football is not just about talent, Mari. I don't like the look on your face anyway. Football is not all about talent, Mari.
Forget about the look on my face.
Football, it's about talent and pedigree. The demands that comes with your game. What's the best performance you can get? What's the worst that can happen? From a Nigerian perspective, if you don't qualify from a group stage, it's a disappointing World Cup. If they qualify, it would be something. But for South Africa, if we don't qualify from a group stage, it's not a disappointing World Cup.
How are we sure that the girls have not been tasked as well to go very far, judging from what the
definitely, they are the African champions.
Exactly.
So the demand begins to come.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, you look at their past experiences, their performances at the World Cup. It's not the first time South Africa has gone to the World Cup. Where did they finish? Have they crossed before? That's the conversation. How many games did they win? So this formed the crux of the conversation of that demand for them. Not to talk about Zambia. We're talking about these teams and Morocco. That's it for me. But I think South Africa, being African champions, should be able to show class and dominance at the World Cup. I watched that game at the Nations Cup. They were quite decent, free-flowing football, the energy, young, and moving quite fast. So for me, if they do quite well, they should qualify, and they should be aiming to qualify. But for Nigeria next, they have to qualify one way or the other. If they don't, it's a terrible World Cup. Let me just conclude with Zambia. Decent side, especially the star player, what's the name now?
Barbara Banda.
Barbara, decent talent for me. Was quite disappointing. We never saw her at the Nations Cup because CAF couldn't let her play because of certain hormones incidents or story to talk about. I don't know how to put it. But here's it, Mari. Now she's available to play at the World Cup. I want to see what she gets to do, because if you ask me who the African Footballer of the Year, the real African Footballer of the Year is, she is the one. But there's always going to be a conversation about her hormonal combination.
All right, so now, of all the 4 teams participating in this World Cup representing Africa, Nigeria has gone the farthest and most. The quarterfinals in 1999. Nigeria has had the most appearances at the World Cup for an African side as well. And then South Africa is the closest, right? And the best have come is the group stages of the World Cup. the other two teams, Morocco and Zambia, are qualifying for the first time in their history. So it means that in Blyden's world's experience, if it counts, it's Nigeria and South Africa. But do you think that the Zambians and the Moroccans can spring up surprise and show class in this competition?
Well, I think I won't really be rooting for the Moroccans and the Zambians that much because I don't really think they have a good history with this competition. So it's really important that we have to bring experience into the matter because, of course, once you have that experience, you know what to expect. Of course, you know what you're going to go against, and you know how the feeling is going to be. You're going to manage the crowd and everything. So I think, to me, I think the Super Falcons stand a better chance than every other.
So they're Africa's biggest hope.
Yeah, of course, definitely. They stand a better chance than every other African team, than every other African team.
Now,
Yeah,
I want to be petty. This is me being petty right now.
We're used to that.
Yeah, normally the Super Falcons ended third, right?
Yeah.
At the WAFCON, competition that saw Morocco, South Africa go to the final. South Africa won, by the way. Zambia showed a lot of class and quality in that competition. And with the momentum they built at the WAFCON, what's really standing in their way of putting up even a much better performance at the World Cup, Blyden?
Who are you referring to?
The Moroccans and South Africa.
It's the World Cup. It's the World Cup is different from African Nations Cup, Mari. At the World Cup, you don't see cheap teams to play against. That's a conversation for me. I've watched teams progress to the World Cup. Just as we had a conversation at the under-20 level. Senegal finished top at the under-20 level in Africa. But when we got to the World Cup, Nigeria showed class and dominance at the World Cup as the best team. Because the World Cup demands spending.
Yeah, so even this Nigerian team going through a lot of backroom problems, money issues, the NFF, brouhaha, Randy Wardrum, you think the girls can put all of that behind them and be Africa's biggest or be great?
Mary, they're professionals, Mary. I don't think whatever happens to the
how professional can you be when your money is threatened?
Mary, personally, I've said it before. Being sincere and being critical without putting sentiment into it. I do not think Nigeria will qualify from that group personally. But when I look at
the Africa's biggest hope, so if it doesn't qualify, it means Africa would have an abysmal performance at the World Cup.
I think also South Africa might have a chance. But Nigeria's are the biggest hope based on history, based on the quality of players they've got, based on experience. Remember the last Nations Cup, Asisat Oshoala was not at her best. She got injured after the first game. I'm really hopeful that she might get to her very best in this particular competition. For a while, she's not sparkled at the World Cup stage, at the biggest stage. After many years, sparkling at the African Cup of Nations. Yeah. So I want to see her. It's the last chance for her to show class, but it's a daunting task, man.
This is a very big opportunity for these players. Most of them, they are youngsters. These are the first appearances at the World Cup. So I think it's very important that they have to leave all this happening behind them and, of course, face what they have to do. I think Asisat is really going to have a good competition because from last season she had a very good time, bagged over 20 goals last season for the FCB family. So I think it's really important that, of course, we have to encourage them and try as much as possible to make sure that they leave the WAFCON disappointment behind them. Yeah, and move forward, because it's really important that they have to put up a good display. And I completely disagree with Blyden because I believe that they're going to go through the group stage. Absolutely.
I love the fact that he disagreed with
the game starts by 3:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I'll give you guys time to look at the lineup and tell us who you think or who you would want to start later tomorrow. But let's take a listen to the president of CAF, Patrice Motsepe, and his charge to the African sides at the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Confident that the good work that Morocco did and all of those nations who represented us in Qatar, but Morocco made history and made us very, very proud, and we are confident that the nations that are representing us in Australia and New Zealand, the women's FIFA Women's World Cup, the African nations will make us proud, and we wish them all of the best. We are behind them and we are very proud of them. Last year in Morocco, and we had more than 60,000 spectators to come and watch women's football, and a lot of good work has been done. You can see the quality is improving, and also what's very in Europe are from Africa.
I think it's very important that we have to go with the experienced players. Of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Yeah, of course, because it's not just any show. This is a World Cup. This is not a friendly. This is a World Cup, and of course, I would love to see the likes of Odega start. I would like to see
Right,
the
Odega.
likes of Oparones still up front, definitely. But I don't know if it's going to conflict with Asisa Toshola. But then I think definitely I've seen them playing before on the same team.
So who does the number 10 thing? Since Ajibade is out.
We have Christy Ucheibe. Who plays for Benfica, but I'm not really seeing how much in action. So I think it's going to be our first time to see most of the players in the squad as well in action.
Yeah.
So of course, and the goalkeeper Chinaze Nadozie.
Chiamaka Nadozie.
Chiamaka, yeah, of course. I've seen her in action, and of course, I'm confident in her and in her abilities as well.
Yeah, right. So that's the conversation. We're taking calls in 090-2223-1011 and 0817-624-856. I will take calls in before we talk about the friendly games we saw across the USA yesterday. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal all in action in the respective friendly games. Rice made his debut, Kai Havertz scored, and it was an interesting conversation.
There's still a lot of work to be done, Mario. This is just a friendly, and of course it's Wrexham. So I think we can't just start saying that what we're seeing a lot. I'm not seeing anything, brother. Chelsea still has a long way to go.
So what do you make of the new signings and the performance? Malo Gusto, right back, Andre Santos, midfield, Diego Moreira, attack, Nicholas Jackson.
It's a normal thing for Chelsea new signings to be shining every preseason. It's like a constant factor in every team as well in the Premier League. It's a constant
Cost them some slack now.
Of course. So
it seems like both of you are not impressed with the win. Why are you guys not impressed with the win?
This is not a competition, Mario. This is not a match. They should go. They should go up to face to face to people who of course.
Okay.
You know that once the match, we know what's going to come up.
Chelsea's next game is against Borussia Dortmund. It's against Brighton, rather, in Philadelphia on Saturday before playing Newcastle in Atlanta.
And afterwards, Fulham.
Fulham.
I hope you'll be happy like this.
I think it's a good build-up because these are new players coming up. They're having opportunity. Even the likes of the Italian under-20 Caesar, who was quite decent yesterday, had opportunity. Caesar, Mari.
Oh, Caesar.
Caesar in Italy. But it gives opportunity to what gets to happen moving forward because the identity is this, Mari. You need this level of football to see how they build up the conversation and that confidence step by step. The coach has said he needs patience with the team. Many Chelsea fans, I think they have to tighten that seatbelt, have lots of patience with Chelsea. It's not business as usual before. Because Chelsea before was all about impatience. But right now, you need lots of patience, the young lads. And we really hope that probably the next season gets better than last season where they finished 12th. But I'm telling you, this team, they pocket a few talents, some South Americans in and around the scene. I want to see how they function moving forward. But the next game and the next
both of them are youngsters. Can they be trusted? It's a big question. But it's a conversation that it's evolving. Let's talk about the other London side. Arsenal also 5-0 winners against MLS All-Stars. Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, all scoring remarkable goals for Arsenal as a got victories against the MLS All-Stars. Jorginho scored a penalty at 10 points. Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz will also scored for Arsenal. And we talked about this yesterday, Greg. The cross and shoot, the cross and volley game. He didn't score any goal, but the goal he was a cross and volley. It means this guy was joking with us. But bulk of the conversation was Declan Rice making his debut for Arsenal, coming in the 65th minute and played at least 25 minutes. What did he make of his debut for Arsenal?
It's Declan Rice.
I'm forgetting that I'm asking you a question.
Everybody's back with this line.
I'm forgetting that I'm asking you.
You have to understand that, of course, you expect nothing less than just pure class, and that sense of 100 million is there. And I was really impressed when watching the match. I was really impressed with what I saw about Timber. I think I didn't expect him to be that technically sound, but of course,
Jurriën Timber.
Yeah, he was technically sound, to the very, very cool technically sound player, and of course that's a good addition to the squad. And I think that's a big win for Arsenal.
It was MLS All-Stars. You were thinking Messi would play.
Oh, well, Messi has not featured yet. Has not featured. He should feature probably on Friday for them. But Mari, the biggest disappointment for me when I looked at the MLS side was when I saw the coach, Wayne Rooney. He's not pretty decent for me, one way or the other. And in the history of the MLS All-Stars, when they play the preseason against an English side, the record has not been this bad. 5-0. Only had one shot on target in the duration of that match. Arsenal had a couple of shots, but 5 shots on target and 5 goals makes a lot of sense from that angle, but disappointing from the MLS side.
Let's talk about Manchester United. On Twitter yesterday, the fans were just reading courses of Mason Mount. Donny van de Beek scored for United as he secured a 1-0 victory over Lyon in a preseason friendly in Scotland yesterday. Van de Beek was introduced after halftime at the Murrayfield Stadium and tucked away an Italy-taken volley early in the second half of the game. Well, it was a welcome boost for the Dutchman, who came from a knee injury and, of course, showed lots of class and quality. And, of course, was very happy to score that goal. Well, before we talk about Van de Beek, let's talk about United. Ekure, what did you make of the performance yesterday? Not the marquee of names that started the game. It was more like a game for the young stars. But what did you make of Manchester United's game against Lyon yesterday?
It was just it was a mediocre game. I think both teams were just not at their best, not with their best players, and of course it was.
Lyon had Lacazette starting.
Lacazette, and who else do you know in the team?
They had Lopez, the goalkeeper. The first choice goalkeeper starting.
Yeah, of course. Tolisso also started the game.
Corentin Tolisso started that game as well.
You can base the game on just 2 or 3 players, of course, from the first team, it was quite a mediocre show there. But then, I think from what we saw yesterday, Mr. Mount won't kill me. But I think it's.
What did you make of his performance, Mount?
From the first game, he was.
Yesterday's game.
I'm coming from the first game against Leeds. You know, he was quite, everywhere in the field, trying to, get the ball and all that. Trying to be every position, trying to get the ball. But the second game, I don't know if he didn't sleep or whatever, but he wasn't fit at all. The fitness was very poor, and of course, I think to me it's just a matter of time.
Now, Bladden, these are the conversations, right? This player needs patience, but the hype and the talk of his quality, that would not let him be a human being.
Well, it's bound to happen when he played for Manchester United and Chelsea. He started at Chelsea as a youngster, so definitely now much is expected from him. And moving to Manchester United, especially under controversial circumstances, Chelsea fans are still not happy. Same thing with Kai Havertz. But here's the thing, Mari. I wouldn't want to really judge most of the players based on preseason.
Yeah.
Preseason counts very little. More like training matches for me, because most of the players went for holiday, had good time, rested, enjoyed themselves with their family and their wives, and now they're coming back. They're trying to build up that momentum slow and steady for me. So it's more training match. But I was quite impressed with one man yesterday that featured for Manchester United. I think he came in around 40-something minute thereabout. Johnny Evans had his second debut for Manchester United yesterday.
Yeah.
Made a lot of sense. Let's get to see what the future holds for the team that Equerry belongs to. Manchester United, and such a beautiful, wonderful defender.
I don't believe there is a lot of pressure on Mason Mount, because I think, to me, he has good qualities. He's a very good player. So I believe that, of course, the club knows what is going to happen.
Yeah.
They are not really giving him that much expectations or giving him, much to achieve or anything. I think it's going to take a while for him to fit into the Manchester United system. He's not a Manchester United player, of course, but it's going to take a while for him to be able to fit into the system.
Let me just add this, Mari, before you trigger. I think one big pressure that comes with players like Mason Mount, you look at their history when they started football, they've not really gone to make this step before to another club. They've not gone through this experience.
Yeah,
and now he's
gone out on loan twice at Chelsea.
Loan, yeah, just
Netherlands.
Loan some like, come on, just go try, come back, you silly Chelsea player. Then return to Chelsea, slow and steady. Now you move to a new club. More pressure now comes. Prove to the world how good you are. That's where Mason Mount is, especially when Chelsea had some doubts about him.
Right, so this is preseason, so nothing much to expect and demand from the youngsters. But let's talk about Manchester United before we take a look at Liverpool. Leaving United is the best thing for Harry Maguire after being stripped of the captaincy. This is a statement credited to Wayne Rooney. Maguire is 30. He's going to replace United's keeper after making just 8 Premier League starts last season. He was signed for £80 million and is under contract until 2025. And of course, we had the West Ham came in, but United dropped the move and rejected the deal. And here is a former United man saying, "Come on, you have to leave." Well, it's a conversation we've been having for quite a while right now. But Maguire says he wants to fight for his place. But the writing on the wall clearly states that this man might not even have a chance to fight for his place.
Well, last season we saw what Harry Maguire did with the side. He was more like a makeshift kind of player for the side, not the big stay that we used to talk about. When a player gets injured, probably gets to have a chance, or a game that is not a high-profile game, he gets to play. It's left for him to improve and learn. For me, Harry Maguire isn't a very bad defender the way he is. He just makes one mistake, breaks one rule of football. I love the way Corey is looking at me when I said that. But I love the fact that, Mari, if only Harry Maguire knows what the problem is. Harry Maguire's biggest problem is being a ball-playing defender. That's his biggest problem. And the more he shifts from that position, the more he causes lapses in the team. And the question next would be, if he doesn't stay at Manchester United, where does he go? Many Manchester United fans think he should move to Chelsea. And many Chelsea fans say, well, lie, we don't want you.
There's nothing like that. All right, to Liverpool were 40 winners against yesterday. Diogo Jota scored twice in stoppage time. And of course, Darwin Núñez was also on the score sheet for United. And it was a beautiful story that saw the likes of Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai getting their debuts for Liverpool at the time. The preseason continues in the next couple of for £12 million is going to earn a little over £700,000 every single week. Also, a new man for United in between the sticks. Well, we've discussed Onana over time, and it's going to be interesting to see how he integrates and glides into that Manchester United team. For Manchester City, we hear that they have agreed a deal to sell off Riyad Mahrez for £30 million. Mahrez has been given permission to miss City's preseason in Japan and South Korea to finalize the move. Well, Blyden, 32 last season, clearly was one of his most underwhelming seasons, and that's due to the fact that he barely got playing time. But for a player like Riyad Mahrez, 4 Premier League titles, 1 with Leicester City, by the way, 2 FA Cups, 3 Carabao Cup titles, and the Champions League. Didn't play many games last season. He's thinking to himself, Saudi Arabia, make more money and chill. There's no time for stress, right?
Yeah, I think, let me start by saying this. I think Mahrez is a fantastic player. When he joined Manchester City, I told a couple of people he wouldn't be starter at Manchester City. One of the biggest weaknesses in his game is his defensive part of the game. He doesn't have it at all. He can't just be swift-flowing attacking player. If you have to play that way, you have to be so dangerous moving forward. And it's not really added up for him. But a decency as a player, everyone knows Mahrez is good. I mean, Mahrez is good, not Mari. Mahrez is good. But moving forward, I think good deal for him to move to Saudi Arabia. I know Mahrez is good too. Good move for him to move to Saudi Arabia. I concur on it.
Hey, great. Take us to Facebook because Mari is good. And good move for him to Saudi Arabia as well.
I wanted to talk about Jordan Henderson and
Henderson.
And his move to Liverpool. I think to me it's a real decline in his career for me, I think, because of course the money is involved very well, but then I believe that it's really going to affect his, his...
What else does he have to prove as a football player?
Question.
He's played for Liverpool for how many years? Over 400 appearances for Liverpool, and this previous season had so many injury concerns.
Liverpool, how many years? About how many?
Since 2011, actually.
Long time.
It's really a long time.
He's been a captain for how many years?
Since 2011.
So long.
We can't underestimate the fact that
he's already declining.
He's an influential player in Liverpool. Oh. He's been an influential player in Liverpool.
Now, here's the thing. He's 33, right? He's 33 years of age. Last season, he made 43 appearances.
And of course, this is definitely going to affect his England future because I don't think...
He's 33.
Do you think he still has intentions of playing for the English national team?
His mates have retired from national team.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the conversation too. He's looked at his age and said, well, there's no point stressing. Let me go £700,000. I know that's big money.
I know it's been very difficult marriage for him, one way or the other, because he's been a fulcrum of that Liverpool side. They've had lots of conversation with the manager, especially English manager and Georgian club. And Georgian club came out recently to say, well, the deal isn't done yet. They're still having that conversation.
Well, I'm saying from the fact that, of course, that he's a very influential player for Liverpool.
Yeah, but
every player has been influential moving to their clubs.
All right,
that's what I said.
Let's move on and talk about something else. Great Facebook.
Yeah, this is a comment from our official Planet 101.1 FM page, and we have I'm going to take some few comments here as well from Chukudi Obasi, watching live from Taenya. Joshua Tom, good afternoon, guys. It's been a while I watched Chelsea play this kind of good football. Good teamwork. Nkunku, Jackson. Oh yeah, and Jackson, of course. Jackson had a good game yesterday. Yeah, and Comrade Ekweno Akwan. Good afternoon, Sports Crew. I wish Super Falcons best of luck ahead of tomorrow's clash with Canada. Update me with the latest transfer. And from Lucas IB, I just hope I don't waste my fuel and regret later. Super Falcons, and I go, yeah. I better no go buy fuel, go watch Super Falcons. So
so Blyden, with the current hike in fuel prices,
buy the fuel, watch the match.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you get the experience?
It would be better if maybe we have power supply.
Yeah, but we know normal thing that happens when it's time. They take off the power.
There's one of this.
They take their power.
There's one of those on the 17 games we're watching at midnight. All the opening formalities, the shaking of hands.
Yeah.
There was light. Yeah. And once the ref just gave the kickoff, blew the kickoff whistle, boom, they took it. I was like, this is Nigeria. It's an interesting thing. We're still taking calls, and it looks like there's a bit of a problem with our network, but we'll try to take calls in. If you cannot reach out to us, please head to Facebook and drop comments on the live feed. The Planet Radio 101 FM page, the one with the blue tick, as you said, and drop comments that will take them. Okay, so more transfers this afternoon. We hear that Chelsea are looking forward to increasing the bid for Moises Caicedo, and they're looking forward to making it an £80 million bid plus add-ons for Moises Caicedo. Chelsea are also considering bringing Mark Guehi back to Chelsea, back to the club, 2 years after selling the man to Crystal Palace. He's 23, and with the problems around Wesley Fofana, Chelsea need one more defender, and they're looking at Mark Guehi. But Crystal Palace has said, well, this man is going to come for £60 million. Manchester City have targeted Basis Rafinha as a replacement for Riyad Mahrez, as he's set to join Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia. Al Ahly too are looking to signing Alan Saint-Maximin from Newcastle too. And Harvey Barnes, Blyden, your Harvey Barnes is having a medical at Newcastle, set to join. Well,
I don't like that deal.
Yeah, I'm looking
because of the complexity.
Now, before we talk about the complexity of the deal, I'm looking at the English players that Newcastle have signed since the Saudi takeover. Hasn't come out well for them. Anthony Gordon. The only signing they've come out for them was Callum Wilson. Right, but Anthony Gordon, not really come out well for them.
I think Anthony Gordon was just a projection for the future. So they're looking at this young player and thinking to themselves, how do we give him a good opportunity? It reminds me of the conversation of Alexi Iwobi I talked about the other time.
Yeah.
So they upgraded him from Everton to Newcastle. Most likely Newcastle will be playing in the Champions League and they have good projection and money in the team. But let's talk about this particular signings for Harvey Barnes. I agree from different angle that Harvey Barnes has scored more goals than a couple of these other players. What's the name now? Saint-Maximin.
Yeah.
I think the complication, because Saint-Maximin will be leaving Newcastle
to Saudi
for
Arabia.
Harvey Barnes to enter Newcastle now.
Yeah.
And for me, like for like, one word or the other, I keep them side by side. Who would I prefer? Yeah, one is French, right? And this other one is English on the other hand.
Who's more of a businessman? Because we're talking about goals. Saint-Maximin, yes, fine player, electric feet, but not that much of a businessman.
In terms of scoring goals,
yes,
but creates lots of distraction. Let's look at Harvey Barnes, how businessman he is. For me,
a lot more direct.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about big games.
We're talking about directness here, Blyden.
Well, it can be direct, end product at the end of it. It was that direct.
Has more goals than Maximin.
He had 13 goals last season.
More goals than Maximin. That's enough. That's enough to make a case for him.
Well, I'm talking about sometimes, for me personally, let me use me now personally, because sometimes I think stats don't give us enough of what we're looking at. Because now nobody's bringing the stats about the impact that Maximin causes in games.
What other impacts?
Pressure.
What other impacts does an attacking player needs to do than scoring goals?
It's not just about scoring goals, Mari.
Saint-Maximin is a good player.
Yeah, take nothing away from him.
He dribbles very well.
But if you need goals, you're not going to rely on Saint-Maximin.
Just like you talked about Mahrez, Saint-Maximin, he has this, very little involvement with the defense as well. But Harvey Barnes is an all-round player, box-to-box player. I really enjoy watching him.
I wish he never used defense midfield structure.
Now,
Saint-Maximin helps the midfield more.
Now,
he drops it.
Let's
runs
talk,
around.
Let's talk about the goal-scoring duties. Particularly.
Well, it's not the whole duty of a winger.
Harvey Barnes,
that's his primary duty.
Harvey Barnes scores goals.
No, it's not the primary duty of a winger.
Of an attacker with Newcastle. Newcastle got an attacker.
He's a winger. He's not a striker.
He scores goals.
What's the meaning of
the winger is more like you have to also add to the middle.
Let's look at guys. Let's look at the way Newcastle play.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe plays a direct system of football.
We know.
Right? So everybody is forward thinking. Let's go forward. So if that's the system, who would you choose in your team? Harvey Barnes or Saint-Maximin? Saint-Maximin dances front and comes back again, throws his feet in and around, and that's it.
Mari, every player in a team cannot be the same. Cannot be direct. If you are a coach. If I'm coaching that team now, personally, Blyden came coaching that team now, I wouldn't prefer Harvey Barnes to Saint-Maximin. Yeah, he doesn't need to start all the games. I already have Isak. Isak is direct. Why have direct everywhere? It doesn't make for a good team.
Now, agree. Look at Real Madrid, for instance. To me, look at Real Madrid, for instance. How many, in quotes, indirect players do they have in the team? Vinicius is direct. Benzema is direct. Rodrigo moves forward. Even Federico Valverde from midfield moves forward. So, what's the point of having a dancer? Now we're talking about a player who is dancing, but who criticize Neymar, right?
No,
because he's not direct.
It's different.
See, I think Newcastle is doing good business.
Neymar
this
is
season.
direct, Mari.
They have been able to acquire.
People complain, oh, he dances so much to the ball.
Except we are wrong about what we call direct and indirect. Except we're wrong about it. Look,
Right.
you're talking about Harvey Barnes. I'm not saying Harvey's not good, but it's not just about being attacking, and moving forward and probably getting to the end of it and score goals. I've watched games with Leicester. He scored a goal, they're losing. He can help, he can determine his goal can determine the much impact.
No, that's not
of
his
that game.
fault. The defenders are to blame for he's done his job.
Harry, no, let me use other players for example.
Yeah.
I watched Ronaldinho over the years. He never scored the number of goals many players scored, but you can't take away the impact. He dropped in. Distraction is a thing that the stats won't capture. For me, I put them side by side. I do not see any difference.
All right. 090-222-3111 and 0817-624-8565. Well, we also hear that Fulham have made that bid for Calvin Bassey. £50 million is the deal for the man. And well, Calvin Bassey, Bladden never had the fine time. I think I give this to Ekwe because he's a man that follows Calvin Bassey. Never had a fine time at Ajax last season after joining from Rangers. What's the assurance that his stocks are going to rise at Fulham if he joins?
He's going to the Premier League, so I think, of course, that's a step forward.
Isn't that more pressure?
No, I think to me it's just a step forward in his career. Of course, playing in the Premier League will expose him to more experiences, to more top football quality, and of course you'll see, a more lively football at the Premier League, definitely. But I think, and to me, I think Calvin Bassey needs that. I think, of course, he had a very rough season at Ajax last season. He wasn't really fit and he wasn't playing well and he wasn't doing well as well. But I think it's good that he has that new environment, he has that new coach, he has that new team, and he has that new, environment as well to try as much as possible to revive himself. To me, this is just his good. He just has to try and revive himself as much as possible because the quality had dropped. But Fulham spending so much money there, I think they actually believe in his abilities. They know how good of a player he is. So I think it's a good move to me.
All right, Joe. Well, but before we bounce, Blyden, L'Equipe, some months back, in 2019, gave a list of players who would turn out to be the successors of Lionel Messi and what's his name now, Ronaldo. So I'll give you the top 5 lists of players who they tipped to become the very best. Top of that list is Jadon Sancho, and then Kai Havertz. Then put Joao Felix there, Nicolo Zaniolo, and Vinicius Junior. Mess up.
And they said he'll be what? Replacement to Lionel
The
Messi?
successors.
Nonsense. That's all nonsense.
Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz. I think it's you got to
Was at Leverkusen back then.
But Mari, let me just say this about the conversation. How do you just put players as Lionel Messi successful?
No, like players that would turn out to be the very best.
I think the standard Lionel Messi is too high. It's just like saying turn out to be Cristiano Ronaldo. That standard is too high. Just say these young players will be good players moving forward. Have potential.
They tip them to actually at some point win maybe the international individual trophies.
Well, I do not see it happening.
Joao Felix.
The only player there is Vinicius Junior.
Because Zaniolo had a poor time.
Vinicius Junior.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz is a decent footballer, but it's not a Ballon d'Or quality. The reason he's not a Ballon d'Or quality, one, the choices of clubs he's gone to, number one. Number two, his final third balls hasn't been that top notch. He has to work on that, but he's got talent. That's it for me.
All right, that's it for the show. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Blyden. Sadly, we could not take calls in today, and that's due to very, very terrible network issues. We hope for better fortunes tomorrow. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Blyden, for being a part of the conversation.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Today's Thursday, but it feels like Friday.
Well, I don't know what to say.
I crave Ekpang. I haven't had Ekpang in a while. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marizona. I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30 to 8 in the morning and 3 to 4. Have a lovely, lovely day. And do out to wake up and watch Nigeria against Canada. I think you'll have a swell time. Have a lovely day. We outside.
We are the dreamers.